All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into the really poignant final chapter for the Pāṇḍava heroes. This story from the Śrīmad Bhagavatam is all about loss, but also this incredible revelation. We're going to see what happens when even the greatest heroes have to face the end of their era. So our story kicks off not with some big battle, but with this really heavy, heart-wrenching silence. You have the warrior Arjuna, his name basically means victory, and he comes back to his brother, King Yudhiṣṭhira. But this is not the Arjuna anyone knows. He looks completely broken. His face is pale, his spirit is just crushed, and for the longest time, he doesn't say a single word.
And then he finally speaks, and these are the words he says. I have been cheated. It just makes you stop and think, right? What in the world could possibly shatter a hero who literally defeated gods in combat? How could he feel so cheated and so utterly powerless?
What Arjuna starts to describe next is this unbelievable tragedy. And it didn't happen on some glorious battlefield. No, he tells the story of how the entire Yadava dynasty, that's Lord Krishna's own clan, completely destroyed itself.
Arjuna lays out this almost unbelievable chain of events. So, the Yadavas, who were so powerful and proud, get hit with this powerful curse from some sages they offended. Then they get completely wasted on this potent wine, and their minds just go. In that state of total madness, they literally turn on each other. Their entire family is just wiped out by their own hands, a total self-inflicted annihilation.
But the thing that really, truly broke Arjuna, the absolute core of his grief, was this. His best friend, his guide, his charioteer, the divine anchor of his entire life, Lord Kṛṣṇa, had left this world.
And as Arjuna is lamenting all of this, his grief turns into this huge, profound realization. It's a really painful lesson for him about where his legendary strength actually came from.
This slide really just lays it all out, doesn't it? The contrast is so stark, it's like night and day. You have two completely different Arjunas. With Krishna there, he was basically superhuman, winning impossible challenges, defeating gods. But the moment Krishna is gone, Arjuna becomes helpless. He can't even string his famous bow. He gets defeated by common robbers.
And he says it so powerfully right here. He's like, look, I have the same bow, the same arrows, I'm the same guy, all the tools are there. But without that divine presence of Krishna, they're useless, they're empty. It's like trying to get a fire going with cold ashes. He finally gets it. His strength was never really his. It was just flowing through him from the Lord. And now that connection is gone.
So this deeply personal crisis for Arjuna, well, it turns out it's a sign of something much, much bigger. It's a massive shift for the entire world, and his brother, the wise king Yudhiṣṭhira, he starts seeing the signs almost immediately.
You see, with Krishna gone, the very fabric of society just starts to come apart. This isn't just about politics, it's a cosmic shift. It's the beginning of a new, much darker era, the age of Kali, an age of constant fighting and hypocrisy. And Yudhiṣṭhira, who's always so perceptive, he sees these things creeping into his own city, into people's hearts. Greed, lies, cheating, violence. It's all on the rise. And the Pāṇḍavas look at this new world taking shape, and they understand one critical thing. Their job is done. Their time is over.
They get it. The age of virtue that they fought so hard to uphold, well, it ended the moment Krishna left. And this realization leads all of them to the exact same inevitable conclusion. And that brings us to the Great Renunciation. This is the moment where the Pāṇḍavas, these legendary heroes and kings, begin to systematically let go of absolutely everything. So, first things first, they take care of their final duty to the world. They have to ensure the kingdom is stable, so they crown Parikshit, Arjuna's grandson, as the new ruler. Next, they start stripping away all the external stuff, all the symbols of their power and who they were. The crowns, the fancy silks, the jewels, all of it just gets cast aside. They are literally taking off their royal identities.
But you have to understand, this was way more than just taking off some nice clothes. They mentally and emotionally cut every single tie they had to their fame, to their wealth, to their own identities as heroes. They basically become the perfect example of a yogi, giving up everything for something higher.
So, having given up every single thing they had and every identity they ever held, the five brothers and their wife, Draupadi, turn and face their final journey together. They set off on what's called the Great Journey.
They just start walking north, heading for the sacred Himalayas, a path that other great souls had taken before them. And they take a vow to fast and to remain silent, with their minds totally fixed on one single thing: ultimate liberation.
They looked unkempt, like madmen or ghosts to anyone who saw them. But this wasn't about neglect. It was about total absorption. It was their way of showing the world that their focus was no longer on anything out here, but entirely on the spiritual quest happening inside.
You know, the story of the Pāṇḍavas' final walk really forces us back to Arjuna's breakdown at the beginning, and it makes you ask yourself the same question. When all the external stuff is gone, our skills, our jobs, our titles, what's left? What's the ultimate source of your own strength?
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're jumping straight into one of the most intense, just pivotal transitions you can find in ancient literature.
It's a really sharp turning point.
Absolutely. We have this stack of incredibly rich sources, and they all detail the moment that the most powerful civilization on Earth just collapsed, basically overnight.
And this collapse is framed entirely around the departure of one single figure, Lord Kṛṣṇa. We're looking at the immediate aftermath, told, mainly through the eyes of the hero Arjuna.
Right. He's just returned to his brother Yudhiṣṭhira, and he is an absolute wreck.
Yeah.
I mean, we usually study heroes at their peak, right? At their moment of triumph. But this source gives us the sudden, brutal low.
Who had just won the greatest war in history. His skill was legendary.
And now, the texts describe his face, his heart, as being totally dried up with sorrow. His powerful luster, that aura he had, is just gone.
It's a picture of complete shock. And he's about to confess this profound failure, one that, he can't logically explain based on anything he's ever experienced.
And that's really our mission today. We want to understand the surprising reason why one of the world's greatest warriors went from, total invincibility to utter humiliation in the blink of an eye.
What happens when the very source of a hero's strength is just pulled away?
So let's start with that confession.
Yeah.
He comes to his brother, and he doesn't just sound sad, he sounds cheated. He says, "O king, I have been deceived by Krishna, who was my dearest friend."
He uses a word that means, defrauded.
That feeling of abandonment is so key here. He's not just mourning a loss, he's reporting a theft.
A theft.
Yeah. He makes it clear that Krishna didn't just leave. He says he actively took something essential with him.
His great, divine, dazzling power.
The very power that had astonished even the gods. It wasn't his to begin with, and now it's been reclaimed.
So he's not saying, I lost my nerve. He's saying, my power was literally switched off.
Exactly. He makes this really stark comparison. He says, without Krishna, the world is just unpleasant to look at.
And he compares himself to a corpse, a lifeless body, devoid of its life force. It's a total loss of his functional identity. He's basically explaining why he failed before he even says how he failed.
He's setting the stage.
Right. He's admitting that all his success, all that invincibility, it was completely dependent on Krishna's presence. In his shelter, by his power, it was all a borrowed grace.
Okay, that dependence, it explains the failure. But to really feel the shock of what comes next, we have to look at what that borrowed grace let him do.
The highlight reel.
Exactly. He runs through this unbelievable inventory of his past glories. He's building the case for why his recent defeat is so impossible.
And he's framing it all as, I did this because Krishna was with me.
First, just think about his skill against other humans. He reminds everyone how he defeated those powerful, lust-filled kings at Draupadi's self-choice ceremony.
The Svayambara, yeah.
He hits that impossible target with his bow, proving he's peerless among mortals.
But he didn't stop with mortals, that's the thing.
Yeah.
The sources get into his victories over, the gods themselves.
Like when he conquered Indra, the king of the gods, and his entire celestial army.
An incredible feat. And that victory is what led to them getting that magnificent Maya-built assembly hall.
And then there's his famous encounter with Lord Shiva.
Oh, that's the big one.
He astonishes Shiva in combat and receives his most powerful weapon, the Pashupatastra. He even says he got half a seat in Indra's celestial home, in his own physical body.
I mean, that's a level of favor you just don't see. That's for gods, not men.
So these aren't just military wins, they are proof of a divine partnership.
And it wasn't just about fighting. There was also Krishna's act of protection. like that famous story with the sage Durvasa.
Oh, the Durvasa rescue, right. This sage, who was famous for his temper,
Yet his curses.
he shows up with 10,000 starving students and demands food instantly. It's a curse trap.
And a mortal can't survive that. But Krishna saves them. He eats a single leftover leaf of a vegetable from Draupadi's pot.
And that one act satisfies the hunger of everyone. Durvasa, all 10,000 students.
The entire world, in fact. It's a literal demonstration that their survival depended on his cosmic power.
So Arjuna is listing all this off. I defeated mortals, I fought gods, I was saved from inescapable curses.
And then he brings it all crashing down.
He says the very power of his arms, of his famous Gachava bow, the bow even the gods relied on, has been stolen by the Supreme Being.
The instruments are still there. The bow, the arrows, the chariot.
But the power behind them is gone.
That's the moment the spiritual reality hits the physical world. He's stating it plainly. They were just objects. The real force was Krishna.
And this brings us to the moment of collapse, the thing that proves this terrible new reality. If you're listening, just try to imagine the whiplash here.
It's immense.
Arjuna, conqueror of Indra, is on a simple journey. He's guarding Krishna's royal women, and they're carrying the wealth of the now-dead Yadu clan. So what happens?
He was defeated by a group of low-class cowherds, thugs on the road.
Wait, I have to stop you. This is Arjuna. He fought Shiva to a standstill, and he gets taken down by highway bandits.
Stripped of everything. He says he was defeated like a helpless woman.
Is this a physical failure? Like, did he forget how to shoot his bow? Or is it purely spiritual?
It's purely spiritual. The text makes that so clear. It says his gotcha bow, his divine arrows, his chariot, all of it was suddenly useless.
Void, non-existent without the Lord.
It's a perfect metaphor for relying on someone else's influence. You cut the connection, the hardware is useless.
Wow.
His efforts are compared to an offering thrown into ash. It produces nothing, or a failed magic trick. The power didn't fade away, it just vanished instantly.
And the only thing left to haunt him are the memories. Krishna's fond words, his jokes, he Partha, he Arjuna, Sakho.
That shift from cosmic power to just this deep personal grief it's staggering.
It really is. But his personal tragedy was just one piece of a much larger societal collapse. What about the Yadu clan, Krishna's own family? They were also unbelievably powerful.
Their end was just as fast and just as catastrophic. Arjuna reports that the Yadus, under the influence of a curse and a lot of alcohol,
Like drunken frenzy?
a massive one, they turned on each other and killed each other with their fists. Just like that. Complete mutual destruction, leaving only 4 or 5 survivors.
So why would the Supreme Lord let that happen? I mean, if they were so powerful, couldn't he just move them somewhere else?
The texts explain this as divine strategy. The idea is that the Yadus themselves had become an unmanageable burden on the earth.
So he let them destroy themselves.
It's described as using one thorn to remove another thorn. Their own power was used to eliminate the burden they represented before they too vanished.
And the departure of Krishna, the end of the Yadus, Arjuna's sudden weakness, this had an immediate effect on everything, on time itself.
Absolutely. The second Krishna departed the earth, the age of unrighteousness, what the sources call Kali Yuga, it just spread across the land immediately.
And this new age is characterized by
Greed, untruth, deceit, violence. It wasn't a slow moral decline, it was an instant cosmic shift. The rules of the previous era were over.
And Yudhiṣṭhira, seeing this cycle of unrighteousness, this Dharma chakra spreading, he recognizes that the game is over.
Right. They won the war, they set up the kingdom, but the cosmic clock just changed all the rules.
So that recognition leads to the only possible choice left.
Renunciation. He understands the time for ruling is done. The time for the final departure is here.
But he stabilizes the kingdom first, doesn't he?
Yes, he does his final worldly duty. He anoints his grandson Parikshit as king of Hastinapura and another relative, Vajra, as king of Mathura. Once the succession is secure, then he chooses his own path.
And he doesn't just ride off in glory. The sources describe a very severe process.
Very. He renounces everything, he walks north, adopting the look of someone totally detached. The text says he looked like someone who was dumb, mad, or like a ghost.
He's deliberately severing all attachments.
To his past life, to his identity as a king, everything.
And his brothers in Draupadi, they follow him.
They do. And their method is internal. The text emphasizes that as they walked, they focused intensely on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord with just pure, unwavering devotion.
So they go from winning the entire world
To dissolving all of that power and focusing it entirely on their spiritual pursuit. And that choice is what allows them to reach a destination that others, those who cling to temporary power, could never attain.
So when we look back, the critical insight for us, for you listening, is dependence. We've seen the absolute collapse of the invincible Arjuna.
And these ancient sources are showing that even the greatest worldly power is totally dependent on an external higher influence. His success wasn't in his bow, it was in his association.
When the association leaves, the power leaves.
And that final act of the Pāṇḍavas, calmly accepting the destruction and renouncing everything, shows they ultimately chose a higher path.
They remembered the knowledge given to them on the battlefield.
Exactly. They chose that permanent knowledge over temporary dominance in a new, unrighteous age.
So if the greatest hero of his time could lose all his strength in an instant when his friend departed, it makes you think. What external sources of power or influence do you rely on right now?
Your platform, your job, your technology, your relationships.
Your reputation. What would happen if those sources just disappeared tomorrow? That's something to consider. Until our next deep dive.